I've been like some time ago. I've been a lot in these circles where they say don't take medicine and your body has the own healing mechanisms and so on. And I kind of went for this, but I'm not quite sure anymore if this is like the right path to kind of say no to every medicine. Uh,
Who said to say
and
no to every medicine?
well, it's I don't know. It's I've been a lot in these you would call it maybe hippie circles here,
Mm-hmm.
or rainbow circles, maybe something like this. And yeah, there's a big thing that people kind of uh they just go for the herbal stuff and don't take
Mm-hmm.
this pharma medicines and stuff. And yeah, also because in my family and in my friends, like closer friends, I also dealt a lot with like addiction of medicines, like pain medications and stuff like this. So I think
Mm-hmm.
for me it was like I don't know, but for me like taking a lot of medication or taking medication in general was like is like viewed as a bad thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't. The Buddha teaches us not to be attached too much to liking or disliking certain things, but rather to be kind of balanced. Western
Right, right.
medicine, Western medicine is not perfect, but man, it does some really miraculous stuff. Nobody can deny that. And the herbal medicine is not perfect, but also it does miraculous stuff. Nobody can deny that. So you have to find out for yourself, work for yourself. Who gives a fuck what some hippies say or what some Western
Right.
doctors say? Well, I mean, for the sake of this video, pay attention to your doctor and follow their advice. Don't listen to me. But you like stop taking all this medication. But Western doctors are not perfect. So
Yeah.
you have to be an adult and decide for yourself. Don't listen to hippies. Don't listen to somebody because they
Exactly.
have a lab coat on. Make your own decisions.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
recommend, if it's something serious, to follow the advice of a real doctor, like a PhD doctor,
Yeah.
um, who went to medical school, not just a regular PhD.
Yeah. Yeah. See, it's like for with these allergies, I don't know. It's so weird because I think like I think about it and it is like, well, it's just my body reacting to some substance in a weird way that it should not do. And
Yeah.
also like the it's really hard for me to accept that I cannot do anything like for curing it. I've tried a lot because I had it since my childhood, and me and my parents and my doctors we've tried a lot, and it just did not work out. And it's hard for me to accept the fact that I just have to deal with it without like getting any cure. Probably, maybe, you know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, you
So
have to keep an open mind too. Maybe the pattern of the cologne or perfumes seems so like, yeah, of course that's not it. But I would try it out. Try not putting such strong scented soaps or perfumes or colognes or shampoo. Just try it for a month. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? And also, the Buddha taught us aging, sickness, and death. It's a natural process. It's a natural part of life. Nobody wants to feel pain. Nobody wants to get sick. Nobody wants to get older. Nobody wants to die. But that's the way things are. That's the way it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
And if you're going to fight that, you're going to be banging your head against the wall for a very long time until the day you die.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
It's better to do what you can. It doesn't mean that you can't take medicine. It doesn't mean that you can't exercise and be healthy or try to eat healthier. You know, there's so extremes on both sides. There's some quote spiritual people who won't touch Western medicine, and then there's some spiritual people who think Western medicine is the only thing. And then there's some spiritual people who think exercise, you don't need any of it, you're naturally healthy. And then there's some spiritual people who think all you need is exercise. And none of them, nobody I meet really can do, and this is going to sound pretentious, but I don't mean it to be. Nobody can do what I do and just be like, take what works from all walks of life. If Christianity does something for you, take it. If medicinal medicine or plant medicine does something, take it. If Western medicine, take it. Like, why do you have to, especially in the West, people get into an all or nothing mentality. They get into a everything's black or white, this
Yeah.
football team versus this football team, binary 0 and 1. And that's not the way life is. Life has tons of gray area that isn't there to
Also,
explore, you know?
it's so individual. It's I feel like with all the internet and stuff, it's so often that I like have a question and I Google it instead of asking it to myself. And I try like
Mm-hmm.
I instead of thinking about it myself, I want to Google it, go the easy way, and see what other people tell me how things are. And
Because that's the Western mentality, is that you always need a daddy, or you always need a doctor, or you always need a teacher to tell you what's what. That's how they've trained us since we were little kids. Sit in your desk, be quiet, and listen to the person in the suit or the nice dress, the adult talking, you know. And I come across some people, I'll give them some advice sometimes, and then I'll hear them say like, yeah, well, I'm not just going to trust that advice. I need to find out from a doctor or a teacher. And it's like, who do you fuck do you think came up with being doctors and teachers and PhDs and all these things? It's just normal fucking people like you and me. God gave us
yeah,
a brain to fucking use. You don't
yeah,
need, sure, sometimes you're going to have a doctor's advice, you're going to have a lawyer's, you're going to have another adult's advice will be beneficial because they're experts. But you'd be surprised how much of this, how much you can do for yourself. Society has forgotten. The old philosophers, the old people like Da Vinci or William Blake or Edgar Allan Poe, they were not just artists or philosophers, they were craftsmen. Edgar Allan Poe was a very good athlete. Not many people know that. William Blake was a very strong person, a very big man, a very good athlete. He did printing, he did engraving, he did sculpting, he did all kinds of shit. These were men who did all kinds of things. And they didn't rely on some expert to tell them shit. Sure, sometimes they did, but not always, like in today's society. We're always waiting for somebody to tell us what to do. You have a very good brain. You can figure a lot of things out for
yeah.
yourself.
We need the middle way, right?
Yeah,
Finding the
you would be
balance in it.
surprised what you can do if you just research, if you just investigate.
Yeah,
And that's what the Buddha told us to do about spiritual issues too, you know?
yeah,
And look, even in the spiritual communities, it's the same thing. We can't listen to somebody based off of what they say. They have to be wearing a robe, or they have to have a beaded necklace, or they have to be in a watch. Because otherwise, they won't listen to you. It's so stupid.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
But the Buddha was saying, you know, you have to investigate within, and like, who gives a fuck what other people say or do? Or you have to find the truth for yourself. You can't even rely on the Buddha. Sure, he might guide you, but ultimately you have to go within your own heart. And you're going to meet tons of people who have tons of sankharas who are fixated on labels and beliefs and these. And it's not that the labels, people always tell me, oh, you don't think labels and beliefs and this is important? Yes, I do think they're important, but it's gotten out of balance in Western society and the spiritual communities as well. But
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's also like I noticed this for myself. Sometimes it's hard to accept because I'm so trained in this mindset of black and white that I want a clear path, a clear method that I can always tells me what the right answer is. And yeah, but finding the middle way is so individual. Like my middle way might maybe not be your middle way or somebody else's middle way. And there's no one like there's no source on the internet that tells me what my middle way is.
Well, there might be different methods to calm the mind and different styles to calm the mind. But essentially, if you get down to the real good Christians, the real good Advaita Vedantins, Hindus, the real good Buddhists, whether it's Zen or Theravada, they're basically all saying the same thing.
Hmm.
But you can't rely on what they say. Is like somebody, if you're lost in the forest and somebody says, take this road, you cannot rely on it 100%, but they will guide you. And you eventually, what they're saying is, eventually you have to test it for yourself.
Hmm.
You know, so you're going to hear a lot of people saying a lot of different things, but in the groups we're kind of hanging out with, even then it's hard to hear. Even as soon as Dhammarato goes to the hospital, then you start hearing a lot of mundane teachings and all this stuff. But the super mundane teaching is that these things are very practical, they're very real world, they're very easy for you to do. And
Yeah.
it's um, eventually you just have to try it out for yourself and test it and see if it works for you.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
but
Let
you
me.
have you have doubt and you have hindrances. It's going to cause a lot of dukkha.
It's more and more I see like often I see doubt, a lot of doubt, because sometimes when things I get in the mindset of I want something, I know that's already dukkha, I'm already stepping into it, and then some way or another it's not working out the way I want, and instead, like often the first thought is not, well, I was just trying to get somewhere. I did not. That's okay. That's fine. The first thought is, well, maybe my method is wrong. Maybe I did not understand it correctly. And
Yeah,
yeah, I
well,
notice doubt a lot every
a
day.
lot of
Doubt a
people a
lot.
lot of people don't understand it correctly because they think it's way more complicated than it actually is.
Yeah, yeah,
They're used to everything, and plus in this society, even if you have a simple job that you've learned, people, their arrogance makes it seem that it's so much more difficult than it is. Oh, rocket scientists, they're the smartest people in the world. Oh, when really a rocket, if you explain the basics to people, it's just a metal cylinder with a tapered end, and at the wide end, um, it has a fan, and that's the air intake. And then there's a heated coil inside that makes the air around it hot. And then there's a spark plug ignition switch. And then there is a gas line that produces gas within that structure. A child could understand rocket science. But we have these ideas, we get used to them, and we think, how could I do this? It's so difficult. It's just easy bullshit.
yeah,
People
yeah,
make
yeah.
things more complicated than they are. And that's the problem with the Dhamma is we want it to be difficult. There's an old Hindu saying of this Hindu yogi told a guy, you're God, really, you're God. And the guy said, no, I'm not God. It's like, no, you're God. You wanted the secret to life. You're God. And he said, no. So they never believe the yogis in Hinduism. So the yogi, he gives them tasks to do. He gives them mantras. He gives them prayers. He gives them the things they want. He gives them the methods. He gives them the robes. He gives them the dots. He gives them the hair and this and so on and so forth, and the postures and the books to read, because he knows nothing he says is going to convince them. So they want something to do. He gives them something to do. And it's not unlike Theravada. They're not okay with don't worry, be happy. They're not okay with let go. Don't get attached to these wandering thoughts, feelings, and emotions. These thoughts, feelings, and emotions are your reality. You can either suffer accordingly or let them go. And people don't want these simple truths, so they need a
Yeah.
whole bunch of books to read and mantras and all this shit.
Yeah, this I always found it weird that like I read books like the Bhagavad Gita or the
Yeah, I
like the
read that. It's nice.
autobiography of a yogi.
Yeah, I
And
read that too. That's nice.
well,
Paramahansa Yogananda.
it's a like these are so big books that tell me how a yogi is, or maybe even let's say how an enlightened person is and how he should be, or something like this. But even though I read through all of the pages, I did not understand. Like not even that I did not understand how to get there. I formed this kind of ideal, like ideal kind of thing where I have to get to. And this is a lot in my way because then I judge myself because I'm not there.
Yeah, because that's the source of your suffering. Like the Buddha said,
Yeah.
dukkha dukkha nirodha, the Four Noble Truths. You want something that you can't have. You want things to be different than the way they are. And we suffer accordingly. The mind, all of reality is only thoughts, feelings, and emotions. That's all of reality is, and it exists here in the brain. It's going to get attached to things. It's going to give you recommendations. The problem is people follow every single recommendation like a dog chasing a rabbit. The brain's going to tell you to get pissed. You'll get pissed. The brain's going to tell you to get jealous. You'll get jealous. To get worried, worried, and so on and so forth.
We identify a lot with it, right? We make it our true
Right.
reality.
And what did the Buddha say that this reality is? It's nothing but anicca, dukkha, anatta. Find anything in this thoughts, feelings, and emotions. It is impermanent. It is dissatisfactory by its nature, and it is inherently empty. There's no use in chasing. That's why when people are washing dishes or they're sweeping, you get those feelings where you're just kind of, your ego leaves you and you just feel satisfied.
Yeah, yeah.
That's your true nature. And when you do self-investigation, you have to see that in the a good practice is in those moments of satisfaction, remember that it's so easy to not be satisfied. Remember the things that trigger you, because eventually you'll be so good at practice, you'll do something and be like, you know what, 2 days ago, if this same thing happened to me, I would have been furious or angry or sad or depressed. But now that I've been practicing, look, the thought's coming and there's no attachment. This is miraculous. Congratulations. This is wonderful. That's the wisdom
I
that's
also
seeing.
I feel like I'm kind of zooming out the more I practice because I recognize that, for example, when I wake, often I have unwholesome thoughts when I wake up. These thoughts that tell me, well, I need to get a lot of input right now, and I need to look to Instagram, or if I have new messages, whatever. And and then it's like comes all after one another. I judge myself and stuff like this. But a lot like the more I practice, I zoom out and see that, well, this is not the true reality. This is just an illusion, or my mind telling me right now I have to be sad because I'm not the way I want to be, or something like this. And I can just
Mhm,
say, I see you and you are going to change. You are not permanent. You are not real. I don't have to follow you. I don't have to listen to you.
mhm.
It feels like
It's,
zooming
yeah,
out a lot.
in a weird way, the brain, the mind, whatever you want to call it, is kind of like a sangha. You have some monks who are arrogant. You have some monks who are great monks. You have some students who are know-it-alls. You have some students that are kind of know-it-all. You have some students that are nice, some students that are angry, some students that are mean. And that's how our mind is. It's like a sangha. But when you join a sangha, you can't get caught up in everybody's drama. You can't follow the ones that cause you to get triggered. You know what I mean? Or have you get triggered a higher probability of getting triggered. So what do? You hang around the people that are more truthful, the people who kind of have a better grasp on the Dhamma. And it's the same thing with the mind. It doesn't mean you hate other people in the Sangha. It doesn't mean you love other people in the Sangha. You're just trying to stay at 0 instead of going to 100 or negative 100. You're trying to stay in a peaceful, calm mindset. So, but that's reality, right? You're never going to join a Sangha where everybody's perfect, just how you like. You're never going to go to a job or a career or school where everybody just loves you. You're the best. That's not reality. So your mind follows that example as well. It's not going to give you, everybody's mind is going to give you unwholesome thoughts. Everybody's mind is going to have crazy evil thoughts, medium thoughts, great saint-like thoughts, and so on and so forth. And all of them are not worth running after because it's all just anicca dukkha anatta. It's impermanent, unsatisfactory, and empty. But you forget that sometimes because sometimes we don't practice enough. We forget that the thought will come and you follow it. The feeling, emotion will come, we follow it.
I uncover a lot of deep shit inside of me. The more I like try to see it, try to like also mindfully recognize it and saying, "Oh, there you are." And like one of the things, it's like for a long time this was a really personal topic to me, and I like I because I hit a wall, with that in this feeling of loneliness sometimes, really deep loneliness. And this I I hit a wall because really I'm not fully understanding it, because I can be with people that I love, people that I really like and that deeply care also about me. But still in these moments I can notice that I am lonely, and it's like I'm still in the middle of it to understand what actually is going on there and why this is coming up.
You're not
Yeah.
actually lonely. You just have the thought that you're lonely and you believe it. You're actually peaceful and happy and empty.
So you say
But
I
your
don't have
thought,
so you say I don't have to get behind it, just recognize that
no,
it is there, not
it's
real.
an illusion.
Hmm.
You're not really lonely, but the mind gives you a suggestion. The mind is just a randomizer. Throws random things at you, good, bad, ugly, pretty, in between. Whatever you cling to, you'll become. If the thought I'm lonely comes and you say, man, I am lonely. And then you start with another thought. Oh man, maybe I don't have this much friends. Oh man, maybe I'm a bad person. And then it snowballs and builds momentum. And then you feel depressed and anxious and so. And it's just one thought. I have the thought I'm lonely all the time. I don't follow it because I know it's bullshit. Because I'm not lonely. I'm perfectly happy. And you can be perfectly happy too. But you
Yeah.
don't see the mind is like a demon. It whispers in your ear, like the sirens with the sailors, the beautiful women that whisper they sing to the sailors, and the boat follows the
Yeah.
voice and it crashes into the iceberg or the island. They want you to crash if you follow those voices. But the Buddha recognized, don't follow those voices. It's anicca dukkha anatta. It's going to crash our boat. So when you have
It's
the
really
thought,
it's
I'm
really
lonely.
really mystical stuff, these Greek
Oh,
mythology.
it's
So,
beautiful because it's all
yeah.
just psychology. It's all their unconscious mind coming out in these beautiful allegories, beautiful stories. And what
Yeah.
is it? What's in every story? What is in every play? What is in all these movies? It's power. People want to control reality. They want to be the Joker. They want to be Batman. They want to be the war hero. They want to be the guy who gets all the girls. But that's an illusion. It's all bullshit. You can't control reality. Maybe you can control little tiny things, but it's very, very little and ultimately meaningless.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
not the star of the movie. We're not special. And that may sound depressing at first, but actually it's wonderful to be nobody.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to be free of the rat race, of all this judgment and anxiety and bullshit. You don't have to be what other people want. You don't have to be what society tells you. So you feel lonely, feel lonely. It will pass. See it for what it is, like the snake and the rope. Don't be afraid of the rope. If the light hits it correctly, you'll see it's just a rope. It's not a snake. But you think it's
Yeah,
a snake because you don't have the panya, you don't have the wisdom yet. You have the ignorance, which you see a thought and you think, oh, that's real. I am lonely. No, you're not lonely.
yeah,
You may be alone for the time being, but I can
yeah.
guarantee that's not even going to last. And the thought I'm lonely won't last if you don't feed it.
Right. I mean, yeah, right.
Buddhadasa Bhikkhu used to said when these thoughts come up, starve them with sati. Starve them like a tiger in a cage. You don't have to go to the cage of the tiger and kill it with the sword. No, you could do the peaceful method of walking away and starving it. People get the thought and they want to go after it and kill it and go to war with it. You can change the thought by just saying hello, goodbye, and ignoring it. I
Yeah,
Everything's okay right now. I don't need to follow you.
I wanted to ask about this because I've been doing a lot this. Well, Dhammarato told me about this. I see you, Mara, like this term
Yeah,
that the used,
that's
and
the Buddhist. Mhm.
I that's basically what I use a lot. Like I started out
Good.
saying it out loud, and it's
Yes.
like I notice now it changes that I can also do it like quietly
Hmm.
and be like because of the practice I get more present. I get more present in recognizing
Good.
them and then present
Very
with
good.
these unwholesome thoughts. But I wanted to ask about another thing because Dhammarato also keeps saying uh like have wholesome thoughts instead of unwholesome thoughts.
Yes,
And
exactly.
I'm not really, or is that like what you said when I see like a thought like, well, I'm lonely. Well, I see you, but everything is good right now. I don't have to follow you. Is that like a wholesome thought?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, okay.
I see you thought, and I know that you're just part of the chemicals in my brain. You're not personal. You're not meaning to hurt me. You just exist because you exist. So I'm gonna go. It's just tools. It's a tool belt. Don't pick up the hammer and bang yourself on the head. It's just there if you need it. That's all.
Yeah. So because there were moments when well, I felt like it didn't work for me. For example, there was this moment, was this unwholesome thought that told me like, well, I'm not, or basically that told me I'm not like this. How do you say this? Let me. Wait, I have to think about the translation. Uh, what is it like? Oh my God, I cannot think of the words.
It's
Um,
okay. You could describe it.
yeah, I'm trying. Like I did not feel good about myself. You
Yeah, you
see?
had doubt. Yeah, self-doubt,
Yeah, right. Like self. Yeah, like self.
insecurities.
Yeah, like you get right. Like self insecurity, and
I get those all the
it-
time. I love them.
I saw these. I saw this thought, and I told myself like because I thought about the method, and it says like, well, exchange it with a wholesome thought, and then
Hmm.
I thought of this wholesome thought of well, I am good enough. It's fine the way it is. I am good enough. But I like
Hmm.
it was a problem for me because I feel like I did not fully believe it myself.
You're even more, though, then you really won't believe this. You're even more than good enough. You're perfect. You're even an enlightened Buddha.
Yeah.
Start believing it. But you will doubt yourself and say, I'm not an enlightened Buddha. I don't even know what he's talking about. There's no
But then
answers to
I can
know.
see this again. I can see the doubt, the disbelief in the yeah, I can see this again and say, well, it
Yeah.
is the yeah, yeah, yes, you're right.
The truth is, you are an enlightened Buddha.
Yeah.
And when you start to doubt that and say, no, I'm not an enlightened Buddha, your body has no other choice but to believe you. So if you say I, me, my, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm sad, I'm lonely, your body, you're the boss. So your body, your chemicals are going to follow, and it's just going to lead to more dukkha. But when your body starts hearing you say things like everything's okay right now, I'm a fucking winner, fuck what society says, fuck what this guy, this girl says, I'm an awesome person, I know I am, I'm doing the best I can, it's good enough, and I'm a perfect enlightened Buddhist, so everybody else can go fuck themselves.
Like I feel like I believed it completely at some point, and society trained me to not believe it.
Of course. Yeah.
Everything has to do, like everything I do, the whole practice is about unlearning these patterns and
Yes.
or becoming conscious of these patterns that are so like deeply
Yes.
printed inside of me.
That's the Eightfold Path. Sati, remembering to become conscious of what the hell's going on, to wake up. To wake up and say, oh, wait a minute, I'm not a victim. I'm fucking awesome. And oh, I just had a feeling that, oh, like, for example, I do Buddhist calls and shit, you know what I mean? So sometimes I get nervous. Sometimes I feel certain ways that give me anxiety. But the other day I had a Buddhist call and it was so funny. I do artwork, you know. So I was thinking more of my artwork than I was of the anxiety of the call. And while I'm in the call, I didn't even give a fuck about what was going on in the call because I was too concerned with my artwork. And it really showed me like, wow, if I didn't have my artwork I was thinking of, I would have been having anxiety. I know it. So then I'm like, wait a minute. That's what this is fucking all about. We don't have to follow every thought, feeling, and emotion that fucking comes. We can have
Yeah,
wholesome, nurturing thoughts, like you were just saying, Dhammarato told you, and we don't have to chase the shit that makes us feel shitty, you know? And the truth is, everything is okay right now. You can't feel a whole bunch of ways at the same time in reality. Let's say, for instance, if something really good happens, like you win the lottery, right? You have all this money all of a sudden. You're not going to think of your allergies. You're not going to think of what this girl said last Tuesday. You're going to think of
yeah,
that money. Why? Why can't we do that without the money? We can. That's why the Dhamma is fucking awesome, because it's better than winning the lottery. Because we can be happy despite whatever the fuck happens.
yeah. But to be honest, I did like all of this thinking about started for me when I started with psychedelics for real,
Yeah,
because
they're interesting psychedelics.
they are because for the first time all the shit, like life just was what it is, but it was fucking perfect, even though all the shit was still there. And that's like
Yeah,
that was like my entrance to feeling how it can be, even though nothing actually changed. Just
and
how I
yeah,
thought about it. Just how I thought about it. How I felt about it.
life life in a weird way is actually miraculously perfect. We are in a kingdom of heaven. Um, but the problem comes is people get bored and their mind starts wandering and then they follow their mind and they say, no, I'm not in heaven. I'm lonely or I'm scared or I'm angry or I'm the king of France or I'm a abbot or I'm a monk or I'm an enlightened master or I'm not enlightened. And they follow all this birth and death instead of just breathing and being like, holy shit, I'm alive. This is pretty fucking cool, man. I'm a fucking Buddha in this world. I could have been born into anything and I'm a fucking Buddha. Cool, man. Fuck yeah,
Yeah,
dude. You know, and then you don't care what people say. You don't care how many followers you have. You don't care how many people are listening to you. You're not trying to convince anybody. Then you're just fine. Everything's okay right now. And fuck everybody else and fuck everything else. You're the boss.
right,
Don't
right.
doubt yourself, man. You're perfect.
Beautiful.
Anything that comes, and Ajahn Chah said, like with the water buffalo, your mind will wander like the water buffalo you have on a rope. It will go to the left and eat the vegetables it's not supposed to. And you say, hey, get back on the road, water buffalo. And it'll go and trample on the rice garden, like Ajahn Chah said. And you say, get off that guy's garden. And the buffalo will never be perfect. It will always wander, but it does get better. It wanders very few. But when it might sneak an apple once in a while, but then you laugh and say, that's the nature of the buffalo. That's the nature of the animal. So your mind is like the buffalo. You got to hit it with a stick and say, don't follow that anger. Don't follow that thought. That's just Mara. You remember that. You remember this, Mara. And you say,
Yeah.
yeah, I can be happy no matter what. That's pretty fucking awesome. And you just become an observer. And whatever happens, you just kind of like, how old are you?
I'm 23.
You're 23 years old. And look, go walk around the cemetery. A lot of those graves, some of them aren't 23. They didn't make it that far. But you
Right.
made it. And in reality, you didn't really have to do much. You just had to breathe and eat once in a while. Like it's not a big fucking deal, you know. And you'll make it another 20 years probably if you're lucky. And it's really not that difficult. You might have to work once in a while, do some shit. Hey, you might even not have to work. Who the fuck knows? But my
Yeah.
point is, it's not very strenuous if we allow it to just flow, you know.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
are you doing artwork for a living?
more or less. I don't really sell much, but yeah, I try to.
Cool. It's like, so you're painting?
Yeah, you want to see one?
Yeah, for sure.
I
For
just
sure.
finished one the other day.
That's so interesting.
It's pretty cool. I like it anyway. Yeah.
That's
It's
great.
it's colored pencil.
Wait, wait a minute.
And sorry, Mike, if we can't show butt cheeks on YouTube, but oh well. Put it on my channel or something. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Another one.
What's that?
Another one.
You want to see another one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's my new book. I have some older stuff in here. Oh, this is a friend I drew. A girl who had cancer. I drew her. And I drew a tree. All kinds of shit.
Well, I have so much respect for them because I'm
Oh,
more of a word guy. I'm more of a word guy. I'm not like a
here's
visual guy.
Thich Nhat Han. I drew
Oh,
him
great.
meditating. But I'm
Beautiful.
sorry, what were you saying?
I have so much respect for this because I'm more of like a word guy, not like a visual guy. I'm not like really visually. My
Are
thing
you a
is more like
writer?
music.
You write books and stuff or poetry?
More no, I do music actually. So
Oh,
I
great.
maybe you can I do a little bit of writing. You could say maybe then, but
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. It's not for me. Never it was like visual stuff. It's just also like I don't think visually at all. I think a lot in words.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I just recently learned that this is completely. It's like some people think a lot more visually than with words.
Yeah. That's me. I think very visually.
Yeah.
Feel deeply and think visually. And but if you think with words, you can use that to your advantage because
Yeah.
the visual thinking type of way usually I would assume it's more easily to get attached to. But if you're just thinking in words, it almost seems like it's easier to put on some earmuffs and just like logically think your way out of things. Like I don't need to
Right.
feel
Right.
lonely because yeah, you may be alone, but you don't have to feel lonely. But the brain, it's like a writer itself. It throws words out there. Oh, he's alone. He must be lonely. Are you lonely? And then you say, yeah, maybe I am lonely. And then it throws out more words attributed to that line of thinking. But if you say, oh, I'm alone now, and isn't that wonderful? Just like the Buddha told me to go into seclusion. I don't need anybody or anything. And it's not going to be forever. You're going to be with somebody. You're with somebody now, even though it's just Skype, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 And
For sure.
I'm always available if you ever want to talk or chat whenever. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
scheduled. So there, you're not lonely again. Another reason not to be lonely.
I'm really thankful. Also for making me remember the simplicity.
It's very
I
simple.
feel like yeah, it is. Yeah, well, thanks for the call. I feel like
Oh yeah.
taking some time because my nose is really clogging up. I don't know if
Oh
this
yeah.
is hearable. Yeah, it is, right?
It's cool,
Yeah.
man. Try
It
some
is.
garlic. I heard shoving garlic in your nose helps, but I could be wrong. So
Really?
yeah,
Garlic.
take 2 cloves of garlic, cut the ends of them, and shove both up your nose. Not in your nose, but just at the end, so you can still grab them. Leave them in there for
Yeah.
10 minutes, 20 minutes, and you'll fucking sneeze everything out that's up there.
I
So
would
they
try.
say.
I would try
That's what I
immediately.
saw on the
I would,
TikTok video anyway.
I would try immediately. I would try immediately.
Yeah, you're awesome,
Oh,
man.
you too, my friend. You too.
Much peace and love. Yeah, you rock, dude. Nice talking with you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. See you.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.